Hello people, good morning everybody. I am Kranth and I'll be teaching you today something about English. And when I say about English, before English, I want to say you that communication skills are very much important before you talk in English. Yes. So today we are going to go through the communication classes, and in the communication classes we are going to learn something about interview. Yes, so important subject, isn't it? So yes, today we will be learning about interview and interview basics on how you exactly have to be. Yes, so this is a kind of workshop where we will be learning about what you should do or how you should get prepared before you go for an interview. So when I speak about the interview, the first thing that comes under your brain or into your brain is interview, the HR and the company, isn't it? So now let us forget about the company. Irrespective of the company and irrespective of the HR, the first thing that you have to concentrate is how are you? Yes, because anytime people just remember that if you are perfect, anything is easy to crack, isn't it? So now today I am going to speak something about the most amazing details of interview. Yes, so let us learn about interview, and I just before I go ahead and take the class, I just want you to note down the objectives, and at the same time I just want you to know what is that we are going to get through this workshop. Yes, the objectives of this class will be to better understand the interview process, the before, during and after of the interviews, to be aware of the appropriate interviewing behaviors, to learn about behavioral interviewing, to practice interviewing skills. So these are the most important objectives that you have to remember whenever I say about the interview workshop. Alright. So yes, when I speak about the objectives, or when I have said you about this objectives of the interview, the only thing that you have to remember every time is what is that I am going to learn from these objectives, or how is that this objectives are going to help me in attending the interview. Yes, until and unless you have an experience of interview, you would not do better, but to go for an interview, every time the most important thing that you should remember in your head is what are the basic qualities that are required in you to go for an interview. So these are the most important things that you have to remember. So let me show you the goals of the interview. If you learn these objectives, what is that you are going to get at the end of the session? Goals of the candidate, that is you. To obtain information about the job or an organization, to communicate important information about yourself, to make a positive impression upon the employer. So now, when I speak about the objectives, I was been telling you past, present and the future of the interview, isn't it? So when I say that we are learning about the past, during and after the interview, I also want you to note what are these advantages, or what are the advantages of learning this interviewing workshop. So after, remember, every time after you learn this session properly, you will be able to obtain information about the organization. For example, though you will be learning about the organization, or before going for an interview, you will be knowing about that particular company a lot. Yes, when you go for an information, for example, you like ice cream, So when you like ice cream, everybody would love to go for a quality walls or naturals or some kind of cornerstone or anything. So when I say about the ice cream, each and every individual will have a particular experience with one particular situation or a ice cream parlor. So when you have the experience of that particular parlor, whenever I come to you and ask about that ice cream shop or the candy that you have took to eat, you will obviously tell about that candy or an ice cream for a longer time, because you already have an experience on that. So that is the first thing in the goals that you will be getting, information about the organization. And then the second one, to communicate important information about yourself. There are some times where we will be capable enough of talking but not talking about yourself, because when you don't know about yourself, you won't be able to communicate properly. So to communicate properly, the most important thing that you have to remember every time with you is, do you have a proper experience or do you have a proper relevant information about yourself? Because when you don't know properly about yourself, you won't be able to communicate properly to anybody. So this experience will give you, or this workshop will give you, a basic information about yourself. You will get to know about yourself more to communicate with the people in the interview. And now let me speak about the third point. In the third point, to make a positive impression upon the employer. It's not about only the employer. When I speak about the third point in the goals, I just want you to note down that whenever you talk, you will not be concerned about what impression did you leave in the other person. So when I speak about the impression that you are being forming in the other person, or when I speak about what kind of impression are you giving to the others, this impression forming is very important, because we actually have to know the feedback of ours. So this workshop will give you an exact idea about your impression or the way you have been communicating. So these are the goals of the interview from the candidate perspective. So now let me take you with the interview perspective. Goals of the interviewer, that means the other person who is interviewing you, his goals will also be cleared. And what will be the interviewer goals? To promote the organization and attract the best candidate. To access if qualifications match the job requirement. To determine candidate fit with the organization and staff. Now, yes, of course, you are indirectly or directly helping the HR, whoever is doing an interview to you. You are helping him reaching his goals. Because when you go for an interview, obviously the HR will have few guidelines on how to have an interview. For example, if you are an HR, you will have a guideline that you should have a proper person to get selected for your company. So what will you do? You will have few instructions to be followed for a particular student, or you will look at few important things in a person. So that important qualities the HR will find in you. And the second thing, to access if qualifications match the job requirements. For example, you are helping him in understanding about your qualifications, because many of the job requirements have the qualification and its importance in the job, because without having a qualification, a proper qualification or a continued qualification, so many people won't hire you into the companies, because qualification is the most important thing that you have to remember, especially when you are giving an interview or when you are joining a company. So now when I say about the qualities and the qualifications, the qualities already the person have seen in you. The second thing is the qualification. So you are making the HR understand about your own qualifications so that the HR no need to check your qualification. So this is what you are helping the HR and the guidelines. Now let me tell about the third thing in the goals, that is to determine candidates fit into the organization and the staff. I'll tell you what is the meaning of this point is. People, the problem with the interviews is you will heard or you will hear something, you will see something, you will listen something, you will get something. So that is what I just want to tell you. The interviewer or the HR will obviously make sure that will you fit into this company, or will you manage this, or will you manage, or will you get managed with the staff. This is what the doubts of the HR will have. So you indirectly or directly are giving the information to the HR that you will fit into this company because of your confidence levels and your sweetness. That is what we get with these goals, right? So these are the objectives and the goals that we are going to get through this workshop. So let me take you with the first thing, that is what are the abilities or the skills or the qualities that the people look in the employees. So let me take you with the slide. The first one, ability to learn, technical skills, communication skills, critical thinking, personal management, teamwork, leadership qualities, adaptability, organizational skills, motivation, problem solving, and maturity. And at the last thing you have personal judgment. And I have mentioned in the note here, know the specific technical skills for your areas of interest. That means when I have said you the technical skills here in the second point after the ability to learn, please note that what specific skills are you interested into, because if you are interested in Java, if you mention all SQL information in your technical skills, why? Because the job is into SQL, that doesn't mean that you mention all the SQL skills, isn't it? There might be a job in the company where they also might require a Java person. So when you know Java perfectly, when you mention SQL in your resume, the problem what happens over here is the person might think that you never know Java or you don't know Java, and they will be only interested in looking at your SQL skills, and you will be not that good in SQL and you won't be able to give a proper interview. So better just know what skills are you good in and then put that information in the resume for a better enhancement of the interview skills, right? So now let me take you with the next slide, that is, if you can see the slide, before the interview. So now when I speak about before the interview, what is that you have to remember before the interview? Can anybody guess? No, isn't it? I'll tell you. Before the interview, there are so many things that you have to remember. We think there is nothing that we can do before the interview, or what is that we're going to do before the interview? Absolutely wrong. You should never think about like that, because before the interview itself, you have an ocean to swim for. So because before the interview, when you are prepared properly, then only during the interview you will be perfect. So now let me take you with the points that we have in before the interview. Yes, before the interview you have researched the industry or the company you are going for. The second point you have is identify reasons for wanting to work or having interest in that industry or company. Third one is recall situations that show favorable behaviors or actions. The fourth, analyze the skills the employer is seeking. The next, practice answering common interview questions. And the last we have, prepare questions to ask the employer. And now, when I speak about before the interview, the first thing that you should remember all the time is knowing about the company. Just do some research on the company you will be going for an interview, because for example, let us imagine you are going for an interview in Genpact. When you go for an interview for Genpact, do you think without doing a research about Genpact, would you be able to give the interview perfectly? Absolutely no. Yes, doing an interview, for example, as I do an interview to you, when you don't know about the company, I would feel rather so bad that you haven't done at least a basic research on the company when I ask you about the Genpact. So always remember, think from the HR's perspective. So when you have to think from the HR's perspective, the first thing that you should remember is how much do you know about the company, because you are coming for an interview. That means you are getting paid by the company. So when the company is paying you, what do you know about the company? That is what you should know all the time. So always do a research on a computer. Who is the CEO of the company? What is the company's turnover? Where is the company located? How many branches do the company have? Or what is the product that the company deals with? So these are the most few important things that you have to remember whenever you go for an interview. So now let me take you with the second point, identify reasons for wanting to work or having interest in the industry or company. Yes, people, you just tell me very frankly, why do you apply for a company? For the salary, isn't it? No, you should never say that. Some people will have a dream company. For example, your dream company can be a Google. Some people dreams can be Microsoft, Wipro, Capgemini, Dell, Deloitte, IBM, Nova Solutions, and etc. and etc. If you see, there are so many companies, but why do you actually want to apply to this company is what the question is. So always have one particular key point or the interest point on why exactly you are applying for this company, because the HR will ask you, why did you choose this company? Sir, I choose this company because this company will provide employees a lot of good knowledge, and every person that works in this company will have a very good attitude. Yes, this company will provide lot of skills for freshers, so that when we go for the next interview, we will have a lot of knowledge gathered from this company. So this company will give us lot of knowledge, attitude, and also skills. So this is what you just have to remember whenever you are applying for the company. So now let me take you with the third point. When I say the third point, recall situations that show favorable behaviors or actions. For example, there will be a few situations where you are amazing at. For example, you are very good in explaining others. So when you are very good in explaining others, recall the situation, take a situation again and again, and not repeatedly, take once or twice repeatedly, and try to speak about that particular situations which you are very good in, because every person is good in one particular skill level. So make or try to get that skill when you are giving an interview, because recalling of your best situations will obviously give you confidence at some particular point. Alright. So now let me take you with the fourth point. Analyze the skills the employer is seeking. Analyze. What is mean by analyze? A clear brief. That is what it is the meaning of. So I just want you to tell you that analyze the skills the employer is seeking. We might not know what the interviewer is looking at. So try to be like what actually the interviewer is looking for. For example, an interviewer might be looking at a very active person. So once when you go into the room, if you are so dull, you are so nervous, you are sitting silent and you are not talking, obviously the interviewer will not be happy with your performance in the interview room. So what you should try talking little active. Hi, how are you? I am good. So shall we have my interview? Yes, I am from this place, my name is Des and I have got my education from here, my hobbies, my strengths, my goal. So when you be when you be very active while you're giving the interview, the interviewer obviously will love looking at your interview or will love doing your interview at the end results as a select. So always remember and analyze what the interviewer is looking out for. That is the most important thing that you have to remember, because when you are not like the way the interviewer wants, you are obviously a reject. So never try to be that, okay? So now let me take you with the next point. What is the next point? Practice answering common interview questions. For example, we always have this particular question called tell me about yourself, take me through your profile, speak about your CV, take me through your curriculum vitae, run me through your profile, introduce yourself, self introduction please. So all these are only one particular question, that is your resume and your details. Yes, so this is a common question. So try practicing on this particular question, because when you know this properly that the question is going to be asked, when you practice, this can make that particular unconfident situation to the confident situation where you can really speak about yourself with a great confidence, where the HR interviewer will obviously feel this person is good in answering one particular thing at least. So now let me take you with the next point, that is practice answering common interview questions, and after that we have prepare questions to ask the employer. People, the only thing that you forget all the time is once the interview is done, we find out to be every time the interviewer asking you so many questions and you just giving the answers. Did you ever ask a question back to the HR? If yes, that is good. If no, try to have some questions to ask for the HR, because when you ask some questions for the HR at the end of the interview, always remember this makes a positive impression on you that you are interested with this interview. So this makes a person feel that yes, this person or this human being have that interest to apply to this company. So when you ask such questions to the interviewer would love to answer your questions. So these are what you have to remember before the interview. So these are the main few things that you have to remember. And when I say about the company or industry research, what am I actually mentioning in this workshop? You will watch. So now let me take you with the next slide. Yes, here we have learn more about the company or the industry. I am mentioning few websites where you can find the entire information about any company you are looking for. The first is wetfeed.com, vault.com, Factiva.com, informational interviews and networking, where you can find so much research about the company and the industry. And to learn about the company, or to to learn more about the company, or to learn more about the internal things about the company, you can actually go for Crane's Business, Glassdoor.com, which I use all the time, Student Evaluations, company website. So these are the most important things that you have to remember when especially you are going for an interview. Because when you don't have a proper information, see, going for a Google or going to a Google site and just pressing or just typing that particular company name wouldn't give you the entire information. The websites what I have mentioned, you will obviously give you the entire information, including the employees working over there, because the employees can actually write a review on what exactly they want. I just want you to have a look at the slide once again. If you can see in the first phrase, learn more about the industry, you have wetfeed.com is something, a website where they will give the entire reviews of the people who have worked over there, and also the projects that they are dealing with. So always remember, these can help you out in understanding what exactly the HR is looking out for, because every person will do a research on the company but not the research on the employers and their satisfaction. So this is what you always have to remember. When you go for the second phrase, we have learn about the company. When you are learning about the company, especially when I go for an interview, I go through the glassdoor.com, typing the company's name in the website, because Glassdoor will give you the entire details about the company, including the salary, on what date also they get. So this is an interesting fact about the websites, isn't it? So always remember, when you get the reviews from the people working in the company, you can explain to the HR more about the company on what you know about the company. So these things will help you in understanding the interview and giving the interview. So this workshop will help you in understanding that. So now let me take you with the next slide, that is dress for the interview. When I speak about the dress for the interview, yes, business professional dress unless notified, otherwise carry a binder or portfolio to contain resumes, personal calendar or pen, and the last one, don't chew gum or being beverages on or food. So now, when I speak about dress for the interview, always remember that I'll come from the last point this time. When you take beverages to the interview hall, that is going to give a very bad impression for the person who is looking at you, isn't it? You will be taking something from your bag and you will be eating. Eating is very, very, very bad habit, especially when you are at the interview. So always remember, don't carry any beverages or gum. So many people have a habit of chewing a gum. That can be anything. It can be a boomer, it can be a bubble gum or anything. Don't chew it, because as much as you chew, you get your interest lost. So never ever do that, because when you're talking to a person and when you're chewing a gum, the person who is listening to you won't feel interested in listening to you. That is number one thing that you have to remember. Number two, carry a binder. Always have a small kind of file where you can put all in one particular thing, because I'll tell you, I have seen so many people carrying their resume in one hand, carrying their portfolio in one hand, carrying different kinds, like pen in other hand, where some particular point you might get collided with something and you will make all mess out of the thing. So don't do it. Carry a big one particular file which can have or which can contain all your portfolios, your photos, your details, your proofs, your phone and everything. It can be pen, it can be anything. Everything can be stored in one particular file. Alright. And now the last one that I just want to tell you today is business professionals. See, always I'll tell you, when you go for an interview, or if you can see me, why do I wear a suit, or why do I dress up neat, and why do I sit with a professional or a professional dress? Because the professional dress will obviously syndicate the decency and the dignity levels of a person, until unless it is mentioned. For example, if the interviewer mentioned in the job description that formals are mandatory, try to go in formals, because that will obviously give a good impact for the person wherever you are. Alright. So this is what can make a person clear the interview in the easiest form. Right. So these are the three things that you have to remember, especially when you go for an interview. And now let me take you with an amazing slide. If you are a guy and if you are going for an interview, what is that you have to follow? Especially if you are a guy and the interviewer is a woman. So what is that you're going to do? Impress her, isn't it? Yes. Now I'll also tell you how to impress a woman. So let us go with the slide. So dress to impress women. Navy color, grey and black suits. And now, if I have to say, obviously dressing is the most important thing, but you know, if you are a female, especially remember, guys, yes, of course you can handle, you know, you can just wear, you know, good formals and good trousers and everything. But if you are a woman and if the other person is also a woman at the interview, yes, how to impress that woman? Yes, now I'll tell you. Now I'll tell you in the perspective of a woman. If at all you are a woman, then what should you actually go through, or what you should actually carry, or what should you wear? That is what I'm going to tell you. All right, so let us see the side once again. So you have skirts length should be follow or below the knee, because overexposing can also it can disturb the entire interview. All right, so always make sure your skirt length is below the knee. All right, now let me take you with the next point. Keep accessories to a minimum. We all know that girls and women carry lot of accessories in their wallets. Yes, if I have to say that, you know, I've seen so many females putting lipsticks, you know, eyelashes, etc. in their carry bag, which every time when they sit, they try to open that bag and open all the accessories to make up. But I just want to tell you, you are going for an interview, not a party, right? So never carry lots and lots of accessories, especially women, to the interview, because this will get you distracted and disturbed. All right. So this is what you just have to remember. And the next point that you have to see here is makeup should look natural. When I say this, everybody gets a smile on their faces, isn't it? Because when I speak about females going for an interview, lots and lots of makeup on their faces. Literally, you put a flower bouquet on top of your hair. No, stop it. Don't put flowers. You're not going for your marriage, isn't it? You're going for an interview. So don't put flowers on your head or something, or you know, don't put a flower bouquet or something. Just try to make up normally. Just put a cream or a sunscreen lotion or anything which looks very natural. Don't get yourself makeup in such a way that if I see you, I should not get scared. All right. So that is what I just always want to say you. And the last point for women here in the slide is choose one, handbag or briefcase. Females especially, when I speak about women, they carry more than one bag at one particular point. I really don't understand how will you manage. I have seen a woman who have a handbag and a normal laptop bag and again a carry bag. I was so shocked by looking at her, because when she have come for an interview, handling 3 bags at one particular situation, getting tired, obviously won't give you that particular confidence on the interview, because you will be tired. So the only thing what I just want to tell you is make sure you are carrying just one bag at one time, or go on a time and carry one particular bag for that particular situation. Don't mingle or don't carry so many things at one particular point, because that again disturbs the person who is looking at you. Alright? Yes. So this is something which you have to remember when I say dress to impress, especially women category. Alright? So this is what we have learned in the class today, and tomorrow I will be continuing the same workshop with the more details about men dressing to impress and some more about during the interview and after the interview. So thank you so much for listening to the class and being patient in listening to the class. I hope everybody have understood the class, and please share the video to your friends and the people who actually needs to go for an interview. And I am Kranth and I am a trainer. Thank you.